Hello everybody, my name is Benji, and welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program, where last time we placed thousands, and I literally mean thousands. There's like 2,300 smelters that we set up last time for our current mega project. Next up for today is going to be some oil processing. And I think I'm going to prioritize, at the very least, some of the advanced processing before we get into oil. Oil might be next time, but we're at least going to do graphene, carbon nanotube, graphene and carbon nanotubes today, and then we will probably move on to some of the stuff that we already have designs for, like the gears, magnetic coils, circuit board, microcrystalline components, and processors, which are all going to be on a different planet. What's going to be on this planet is our new and improved setups for our graphene and for our carbon nanotubes. Now, carbon nanotubes are going to be a bit of a pain in the butt because of the fact that they're going to require warpers in order to get the materials for. Graphene will probably have a very similar issue because this system, as far as I'm aware, only has 22 million fire ice. So I might open those up to being able to request fire ice from other places as well. So mainly the design for this, at least for the graphene, there is going to be a central belt of hydrogen going in, a central belt on either side of graphene going in, because if we take a look at the recipe, it is a 2 to 2 and a 2 to 1 for graphene and hydrogen, respectively. So we have half as much hydrogen as we do graphene, which means this will be perfectly fine. Then we will have our wonderful chemical plants here and here. We will have two central belts of fire ice coming out. So then we will have yet another, and we will have our graphene and our hydrogen like this on either side. And the main thing that I want to make sure of here is the fact that we actually have enough space. And it looks like we just barely have enough space. Like, literally just barely. Oh, yeah, also, in between episodes, I went out and I gathered oil and organic crystals from Cygni and Capitoratus. Cursa is one of the next systems that we'll be going to for our organic crystals and oil. But between these two, at least for now, the oil should be fine. 100 per second, and 122 per second. We only need 80 per second. So each of those planets, I'll go on ahead and bring up the blueprint. Wrong blueprint. Ugh, gross. This. Essentially, I had 3 interstellar logic stations. It's a polar thing that are supplying organic crystals and crude oil. And then obviously you can see there's some artificial stars as well for power generation. I hope that didn't actually edit it. No, it didn't. Okay, good. Because I was gonna say, I'm gonna have to, like, do that later. So if this fits, we're gonna have 4 rows of 10, and these are gonna be lengthy boys, to say the absolute least. But I didn't double check the rates for these. Each machine is 1 per second, so the graphene is going to be 40 per second, and then we're going to copy this design almost to a T. The only thing that we're going to be missing for the carbon nanotubes is this central belt for hydrogen and these 2 counter belts for hydrogen, because it's a 1 input, 1 output for the spiniform stalagmite crystal carbon nanotube. Carbon nanotube alternate recipe. And that should be 1 every 2, so 20 per second should be the values on that. So with that all explained and set up, I'm going to go on ahead and set those up, and then we can go through the copy and paste process together. I will be And my recording software crashed at one point in this. I don't think I lost any footage, but we do have... Oh, lag. We do have... Well, yes, lag. But we do have our spiniform stalagmite crystal setup done here. So that'll be able to run here shortly. I just forgot to set this. And we do have our graphene setup done as well. Darn it, I forgot to cover up a puddle again. Actually, I don't think it's gonna matter, because with the graphene... Yeah, no, with the graphene it's not gonna matter, because it's too long anyway. So that's nice. We do have all this empty space though, so that's fine. I think I'm going to prioritize the carbon nanotubes first and foremost, though, because the carbon nanotubes can actually fit here. We only have 3. Why did I... It's fine. It's going to work anyway. What? Oh. I know why. Because the logic ports on the actual destination are sending them here. I understand. I was like, I haven't actually set this to infinite range yet. That should not have just been able to happen. Now, I am going to come down here because I don't know if these will fit right next to each other. It actually looks like they will. Just have to make sure that they fit side by side like this. They do. Good. I don't think the graphene will. And there's all 3. Done and done. Yeah, see, this one's only getting 5,000 now, but as soon as this has warpers, it'll be able to do its own thing as well. That's only 1,000, 7,000. Here comes the drone dropping off the warpers. And now it's got its extra 1,000. And here come the drones with the other warpers. So this one will start to launch off. There they go. Absolute perfection and a grid crash? No grid crash. Very nice, very good to see. So we do now have spiniform stalagmite crystals en route. Let's go try to see if we can find them. There they are. Yep, there they are, coming from Ursa Minoris, right? Yes. Which is a bit of a shame because... Well, actually, no, that's exactly where I planned to have the spiniform come from. Never mind. I was like, that's a bit of a shame because that's where we're having the organic crystals being used for our antimatter fuel production and warper production, but it does not matter. That's literally where I wanted them to come from in the first place. So that's perfect. You can see 3 of these have already launched, and there we go. Carbon nanotubes are done and dealt with. That was the wrong button. I want to copy this. Our graphene production, because we need 4 of these bad boys. And as far as I'm aware, these will not fit right next to each other. Hell, I don't even know if they're gonna fit here. First of all, it needs to go up one. It did fit there. And then if I wanted it to be centered, it would end up overlapping. So we have to off-center it just a slight touch. Anywhere else around here that I can place more of these? Doesn't look like it, because if I try to place it here, it's going to run into problems, and it's going to look bad. So I don't particularly want to do that. And it looks like I'm going to have to move a power line as well. Which is no big deal. Moving power lines is the easy part. Once you establish a planet like this, it's really, really easy to just go, whoop, and then I'll connect you to power in a second. And then over here. That right? Nope, one more. That looks good. Go on ahead and plonk it. And there we have it. Granted, I did forget to set this as remote demand, and we will see how that fares. If I have to, I can request warpers. I think I already had it set to request warpers. I did. So if I need to, I can bump this up to up to infinite light years, and it can start requesting fire ice from different ice giants located throughout our universe here. And at this point, we are just placing stuff down. And I do think I want to, I do think I've made a decision. I want to keep the trend of designing blueprints for this episode. So we are going to move on to oil after all of this is finished, which for you guys will just be a boop. I love doing that. I'm not great at it. Kibitz does it a lot better. Check out Kibitz, by the way, if you like Satisfactory content. He does really, really good Satisfactory stuff. But yeah, it was just a boop. Now all of these are in and requesting fire ice. Sadly, I think most of the fire ice here, some of it comes from the science manufacturing world, the rest of it comes from all the way up here on planet 6, so it takes like a good couple of minutes for them to get back and forth, which is why I'm just thinking about using warpers in general for these guys specifically. And I might end up having to use warpers for like the iron and everything as well, unless I want to just add a bunch more of these. But yeah, here, we're already getting some of the stuff in, and we're good. Fantastic. So now I'm gonna load up on all of my oil tech. I think we are done on this planet now. This planet gets to just chill out and do its own thing now. I'm pretty sure we're done here. It was only made for the titanium, the silica, and the other, which we've just done the other. And I have an entire other world dedicated for the oil stuff. So I'm gonna load up my inventory with everything that we need for our oil manufacturing facilities, and I will bring you guys back in when we start designing and talking about the recipes for those. What in the world? Why did it go to that screen? My OBS is all messed up. This is weird. Sorry about that. Now we're moving on to one of the more complicated things that we're going to be going over today, and that is the oil loop. Oil in Dyson Sphere program has a couple of different things to it. At the beginning of the game, you unlock it here at, here, Plasma Extract Refining, where you can just turn oil into hydrogen and refined oil. Then eventually you get into X-ray cracking, and once you... No, it's not even yellow science. I was wrong. I assumed it would be yellow science. You get the reforming refine, which essentially takes the refined oil and hydrogen and allows you a way to get rid of that excess hydrogen by adding coal into the mixture. So it essentially negates the value of the hydrogen and turns it into more refined oil. The issue with that is that it requires an extra refinery and some coal. Now, coal I'm not entirely worried about, because we've got 23 million, and we only need, I think it's a total of like 40 per second just for this. We need some more for energetic graphite at some point, I think. Or maybe I'm completely wrong. Let me check my sheet. Yeah, we do. We need 40 for this and 60 for something else. I don't know what else, but we do need 60 for something else. Looking through, I can't find it right now, so I guess I'll find that a little bit later. But anyway, we need the coal and the oil for this, and it requires an extra refinery. So the way that this system I have here works is the oil will come through this belt, and there will be a mirrored setup over here on this belt as well. And the oil will go into a refinery. I can go on ahead, copy, and paste this refinery over here just to kind of illustrate that. This refinery has the basic oil cracking process on it, where it takes oil, turns it into refined oil, and hydrogen. Then both of those go into this second refinery, which is the reforming refine recipe, and does refined oil, hydrogen, and coal from this center belt. If I want to go on ahead and mirror that here on the other side, it won't actually allow me to do that, which is great. But I can just do this, and then make sure I have it the same way just for symmetricity. Is that a word? Symmetricality? I don't know. I don't know if either of those are actually. And then we have our output belt of refined oil. Right there. And make sure that we have our power nub as well. The issue is the fact that in order to get any quantity, any large quantity of refined oil out of this system, which we're going for a blueprint of 30 refined oil, we need 40 sets of this. So this is one set, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 40 sets. So, or sorry, no, 10 sets, 4 rows of 10 sets, so 40 sets. Very similar to what we've been doing with a lot of these materials, is like, I just picked two really bad examples, and another really bad example. But here, the 40 machines, 4 rows of 10. That's literally what we're doing with this oil setup here. And it's a little bit bigger of a pain in my butt because of the fact that it's so large and has so many machines to it. In addition to that, we're going to need warpers here because we are extracting oil in another system. So that's also just absolutely fantastic. But that's the reforming refine setup. The next one is going to be the X-ray cracking, which I want to get all of this down beforehand. That way I can get a little bit of an idea on what kind of space I'm going to be dealing with and where I'm going to put those on this planet. So once again, I'm just going to design this, and I'll be back momentarily to show you the finished product in all of its glory. And here we have it. A lot of refineries. And do you want to take a guess at how many of these setups that we need? Because this setup in and of itself, well, I haven't actually done it yet, but this setup in and of itself is, can't see because my Radeon software decided to pop up, is 80 refineries and 1,000 transport belts, 200 sorters. You want to know how many of these we need? We need 4 of them. And they don't even fit in one hemisphere. Like 2 of them in a row. Well, actually, 2 of them in a row might have fit. Yeah. I'm gonna move this down a pixel. That's so stupid. And my caps lock is on because I warped here. By the way, blueprints in the description. So if you want the blueprints and don't want to have to design a system like this yourself, please go check it out. And I'm pretty sure it is, what, 20 oil, 10 coal. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. We'll go on ahead and make the same thing. Bingo. Oh, nuts! I just saw something. I didn't grab those from back on the hub world. Alright, I'm just gonna move it down a pixel and I will be back in a second. Sorry, guys. And just like that, we have them all down. This is so many refineries. And we're not even close to done dealing with refineries. I feel like I'm playing Satisfactory with this kind of stuff right now. But we can, well, local demand's not gonna do jack shit. That will, though. Do I want to make it remote demand? I don't honestly know if I want to make it remote demand. Local demand makes more sense for the moment. But I am going to go on ahead and just do local remote. feel like I may as well. Because this planet has the highest concentration of coal in the entire system, which is why it is working. But in addition to that, we also have a lot of coal on the other planets, as can be seen right here. These are all coal vessels coming in, by the look of things. And the oil vessels are currently en route from our oil systems. Good. Perfect even. Wonderful. Exactly what we wanted to see. And exactly what I wanted to see is the fact that we don't have all that much space left. But I can get rid of this in my notes and move on to the next bit, which is the X-ray cracking. Now, X-ray cracking is a bit of an enigma. I'll admit it took me a minute to wrap my head around X-ray cracking. So X-ray cracking, you take hydrogen in as well as refined oil, and it's essentially the opposite of the reforming refine. The reforming refine gives you more refined oil for the addition of coal, whereas this gives you more hydrogen and some energetic graphite, which comes from coal, straight from oil, essentially. And that is fantastic for red science cubes, because red science cubes need hydrogen and energetic graphite. But you're probably sitting here thinking, well, this needs 2 for every 1 science, 2 for every 1 science, and this makes 3 hydrogen and 1 of these. 1 of the energetic graphite. So what do we do with the extra 2 hydrogen? Well, you'll notice this takes 2 hydrogen. So we can create a feedback loop where we never, ever, ever have to put hydrogen into this thing. The hydrogen will loop around, and we'll get a net output of 1 energetic graphite and 1 hydrogen, because the hydrogen will get reused, and all we have to do is input refined oil, which is something that we just finished. Also, these should start turning on. Coal is already here, oil is starting to get here, and bingo bongo. They are working. That's beautiful to see, isn't it? I think it is. I think it's beautiful to see. So we need to be able to create a feedback loop. That way, the oil can wrap, or the hydrogen can wrap back in on itself. Now, I don't know entirely how I want to design this as of yet. I had a design, but it was very, very long, and I don't know if I want to do that specific design again. That design, essentially, I can probably actually find it, because I made a blueprint of it. Forming refine. Is there an X-ray cracking? Or was it using the red? Using the red science. So you can see this is super long, and it has everything wrapping around and everything else going on. You can specifically see if I zoom in and look at the belts. I can't actually, maybe I can. Yeah. So if you zoom in and you look at the belts, you can see in goes the hydrogen and it gets taken in, and then the hydrogen gets put out onto an outer belt and then also sucked back in again. And then whatever excess hydrogen goes back into the logic station and loops back around, and some of it gets supplied to the red science cubes. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna have our hydrogen. I'll go on ahead and put hydrogen, refined oil, and energetic graphite. This will end up being a remote supply, as well as just a local storage. This will also be a remote supply, because it's going to have to go to the science world. And then this will end up being local demand, not remote demand, just local demand. So we'll have the hydrogen come out. We will also have the light oil come out. And then we will have another hydrogen come out on the side. This way, with the X-ray cracking, what we can do is we can have the hydrogen coming in, and also the refined oil. I keep wanting to call it light oil. Factorio, I haven't played Factorio in months. And then we can have these two belts. We can have hydrogen on the one. Or wait a minute. Yes? I don't know. Hydrogen, hydrogen, energetic graphite. But then we won't be able to put another one of these down. Like this. Because if I try to, and try to mirror this exact thing on the other side, I'm out of my input spaces, and I have no more belt space. So what I think I might do is just let the hydrogen loop around, and let the hydrogen input on this side just loop itself around and around and around in like a carousel, and just let it get to the end and stop instead of going back around. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. So I'll go on ahead and design this. It's going to be the exact same as the other one. It's going to be 4 rows of 10, so 10 refineries, like this. And we need 6 of these setups because it gets me a net of 10 out. And then that'll probably be the last thing that we do for today. So I will be right back. And with the design work finished, it's time to get the process fully and entirely started. Now, I'm not going to need logic vessels in the long run, but at first I am going to use logic vessels to remote supply hydrogen from our graphene setups back home. I'm going to supplement each system of this with, I'm going to say, like 4,000 hydrogen total. And that should be enough to make sure that the system is fully and entirely started. And then we can remote supply this after we get those vessels back. It shouldn't take too long. They only have to go to this planet over here. It's 7, or well, 8, I guess, atmospheric units away, which is not bad overall. And then this will end up being remote supply. This will end up being remote supply. And right now we can go ahead and hit local demand on that. Now, in terms of finding space, I thought I figured out how to do this properly. I don't understand why it does the thing that it does with the blueprints. I thought I cracked the code once upon a time. I guess I did not crack the code. Thought I did, and I didn't. Wonderful. What? Collide with other object. What other object? What other object is up there? Oh, I bet it collides with these, the Tesla towers. Shoot. Well, that'll be something I have to fix. Great. I don't entirely know what to do to fix that, but it'll be something that I have to fix momentarily. Right now, I want to at least get the spacing of the first 3 done. Why? Need foundation support on this planet? Seriously? This is supposed to have like 100%. What is it? 99.1%. This is enough to need foundation support? Man. Sometimes this game is aggravating, y'all, I swear. What now? Seriously? This little teeny tiny divot needs foundation support. Oh my gosh. It's easier on water planets, I swear. At least on the water planets, it's consistent on what actually does and doesn't need foundation support. That's ridiculous. That's what that is. And going. And that should be perfection. Now then, we're gonna do remote storage, local supply, local demand, down to like 4,000-ish. And then remote supply. And we'll go on ahead and do remote demand on this again, just so that we can get enough hydrogen on planet to actually do this. Yeah, local demand remote supply will work. And the way that I have it working is the hydrogen gets output on the side belts. Uh-oh, there's a problem on the blueprint. Something I'm gonna have to go fix. The hydrogen and the light oil come in on the center here, and then the hydrogen and the energetic graphite go out and around, both down the center line. And then local demand, remote storage, please, or remote supply even. And the rest of that'll be fine. Make sure this is set properly. And then we'll go on ahead and take it off remote demand, or local demand rather. We'll keep that on local supply though. As you can see, it's starting to hit that backup problem that we've had beforehand. However, it actually looks like I can jack this down to 4,000, and I think this will be fine. Because over time, it'll accumulate more and more hydrogen as it processes. That's like the whole point. And I'm over my half hour. So that's actually going to be everything for today. So thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. But without further ado, adios, sayonara, au revoir, hasta la vista, das vidania, wiedersehen, ciao, and goodbye. Get some sleep if you need to. Don't forget to stay hydrated. What else is there? I don't even remember. Blueprints are in the description. They are free. There's no need for you to do anything. You don't have to like, subscribe, none of the normal stuff that most YouTubers make you do to get access to their stuff. Just make use of it and make me feel good by making use of it, and we will be perfect. Yeah, with that said, I will see you guys in the next one. I'm gonna take... Ooh, that's a great screenshot. Yeah. I will see you guys in the next one. Later, y'all.